Life is made for living. Living is when you actually enjoy the process.
Welcome to the Mind Over Money podcast with Jessen James, the only podcast you need to tune into each week to grow your personal, professional, and financial life. Join entrepreneur, investor, and multi-award-winning international speaker Jessen James as he shows you how to take control of your mind to create the life, income, and career you deserve. Here's your host, Jessen James.
There's no point having a super successful business if you are not happy and healthy. There's no point, okay? And when I say healthy, I'm not just talking about your body, I'm talking about your mind too. Because look, it's stressful running a business. It can take its toll on your relationships. It can take its toll on your physical health. It can take its toll on your fitness levels. It can take its toll on your energy levels. It can take its toll on your motivation, your zest, your mojo, whatever you want to call it. You know, that's what could happen if you don't keep things in check. So it's super, super, super important that you do that. Now, I keep on telling people when they come and work with me that you must look after yourself in business. You must look after yourself. It's so, so important. Now, this is something that you probably heard before and you know it. Maybe you've tried to do it before. And the thing is that if you don't do it, what's going to happen is you're going to end up existing versus living. And what I mean by that is you're not really going to enjoy the process. Existing is when you just go through the motions, you put up with the stress, you tolerate the sleepless nights, you tolerate the low energy, you tolerate the poor relationships, you tolerate the poor health, fitness, well-being, you tolerate all of that and you just exist. And that's not a life, is it? Life is made for living. Living is when you actually enjoy the process. You're healthy, you're fit, you're strong, your mind is solid, your relationships are solid, you're happy and healthy. That's when you're really, really living, not existing. So how do you do it? How do you look after yourself? How do you keep it all in check when you're running a busy, stressful business? Well, quite simply, there's something that I designed that's called the Entrepreneur's Wellness Quadrant. And this is a very simple system. In my opinion, there's 4 key areas that you really need to look after in order to take care of your health and well-being when it comes to running a business. Now, just for full disclosure, I'm not a health coach. I'm not a health guru. I'm not a nutritionist. I'm not some kind of dietitian or anything like that. I'm not a personal trainer, but what I do know after working with thousands and thousands of entrepreneurs and having been through this myself is that there are certain patterns, there are key patterns that successful entrepreneurs follow in order to look after their health and wellness. And these are things that I've used for myself and discovered myself, and these are things that I've learned from my own mentors, and these are things that I've experienced through working with thousands of clients. So let's start to take a look now at what the Entrepreneur's Wellness Quadrant is. Let's go ahead and do that right now, okay? So as I said, there's 4 key areas that we need to look at. And these are in no particular order, but you must look after all 4 of these, okay? So the first key area, if you don't look after this particular area of your wellness, you're going to feel stressed and burnt out most of the time. If you don't look after this part, you're going to find yourself falling out of love with your business and the process of being in business. However, when you get it right, you're going to feel this sense of achievement. You're going to feel on top of the world. You're going to feel pumped. You're going to feel motivated. You're going to feel on your A game every single day. So what am I talking about? I'm talking about your mind. It's very important that you look after your mind. Look, we've all heard this before. Your mind gives up before your body does. You know, so it's important that you look after your mind, because sometimes you might stop doing something. You might stop, being enthusiastic about your business. You might stop putting 110% into it. You might stop making those phone calls you need to make those sales. You might stop doing key things in your business because in your mind you're fed up. You had enough, you're burnt out, you're tired, whatever it might be. So it's important that you look after your mind. So here are some top tips for you that you can use to sort out what's going on in your head, okay? Now, first and foremost, it's very important that you schedule time for yourself. And what this means is it's scheduling time, just private time for yourself to unwind and do some meditation, do some mind work. So even if you don't like meditating, even if it's to just close your eyes and listen to some relaxing music and just let your mind be completely empty, that is when you would find yourself in a Zen-like state where nothing matters and that you're unplugged from the world. Now, if you think about meditation, for example, what is the purpose of meditation? Well, the truth is the purpose of meditation is to find yourself in a state where you are not thinking about anything. You're literally not thinking about anything. You're just zenned out completely. And the benefits of that means that you start to let go of problems that would otherwise bother you. You stop thinking about things that are going to go on tomorrow, all that kind of stuff. So it is really important that you start to think about controlling your mind. Now, for example, if you're listening to this, my guess is at some point in your life, you've worried about something maybe before you go to bed. Maybe you got into bed and you're worrying about something that you can't actually control. Maybe you're worried about losing some sales tomorrow, but you can't actually do anything about it right in this moment as you're laying in bed. You can't do anything about that. So it doesn't make sense to worry about something that you have no control over at that particular moment in time. It doesn't. However, most people will still worry. So the best way for you to unplug is to think about getting yourself into a state where you're not thinking about anything. This is where meditation kicks in. Now, like I said, I'm not some Zen guru or anything like that, but I do recommend that you get involved with some meditation. And it's not easy to start off with, which is why there are several apps. So 2 of them I would highly recommend. One's called Headspace. If you just look on the App Store or Google Android Store, whatever it is, I'm an Apple user, so I don't know what the Google or Android version would be. Go on the App Store and get yourself Headspace or Buddhify, and that's spelled like Buddha except Buddhify, as in IFY, yeah, Buddhify, check these apps out because they guide you through meditation. They're guided meditations. Worst case scenario, just type in guided meditation or guided sleep meditation or guided relaxation meditation into YouTube and you'll have some guided meditation, which guided meditation means is someone giving you instructions and telling you what to do, okay? When you're more advanced, you can listen to some really relaxing music and train your own mind to go into a deep meditative state. But essentially, you want to look after your mind, all right? It's very, very important, okay? Control what goes into your mind too. This is your next tip. Get away from negativity. Now, you've heard this before as well. And I know we live in a society, we live in a world where there's lots of negativity around us. But what I'm saying to you is get away from negativity as much as you can. Obviously, you can't avoid it completely, but your goal is to become almost like Superman. Like treat negativity like your kryptonite. Like as soon as you see it, it will kill you, right? Because it will. Negativity is so contagious. Negative people are contagious. They'll bring you down. Like negative opinions, negative mindsets, these things bring you down. And look, I know a lot of people who will say, you're just saying these things to, because you think it's not as easy as you think or whatever it might be. Look, it's as easy as you want it to be. You can either hang around 10 negative people and become number 11, or you can move away from those negative people and hang around 10 positive people and become number 11. It's a matter of choices. So it's really, really important that you remove negativity from your life. Now, I know it's hard. Sometimes these people are people that you love and you care about. They're your spouses, they're your relatives, they're your friends, whatever it is. Some of them have got a negative mindset, which you've got to really manage. And what I mean by that is, I don't mean run away and leave your partner or leave your friends behind. But what I mean is you've got to start thinking about, do I need to start deleting some of what they're saying? Do I need to start reframing what they're saying? Do I need to start removing myself from that situation more so that I'm around more positive people? Like, what is it that I need to do? Do I need to outweigh the negativity with more positive people in my life? Start getting a bit more creative with that, but definitely eliminate negativity from your life. Always look, for positivity, okay? Really, really important. And one last tip I'm going to give you on your mind, okay? Especially in the digital age, it's super important that you schedule some downtime from social media and digital devices. Like, get away from them. Like, schedule some downtime. Like, maybe get into a habit where an hour before bed you don't touch it, and an hour in the morning when you wake up you don't touch it at all. Like, leave your phone, leave social media, leave your emails. Just get a digital break, a digital detox, as it were, every single day, as much as you can. I know some people who literally stay off social media for an entire weekend. So they'll be on there Monday to Friday, and then on the weekend they're done. They don't even look at it. They're just present with themselves, with their families, with their loved ones. They take a break from it. So scheduling a digital detox is what I call it. A break from social media. It's so important. Okay, so the next part. Okay, the next part of the entrepreneur's wellness quadrant is something that you do on a daily basis, but perhaps you don't pay enough attention to. Now, if you don't get this bit right, you're going to find yourself with low energy levels. You're going to find yourself, maybe not feeling as healthy. You're going to maybe feel that you're kind of like you're lacking motivation. You're just down. You're just feeling heavy, and you don't know what's going on. Okay, but when you get it right, you're going to feel pumped, energized, full of life. You're not going to have any slumps. And you're going to just feel ready to rock and roll all the time, right? You're going to feel like the Duracell bunny. Now, what am I talking about? I'm talking about your nutrition. This is super important. And like I said before, I am not a dietitian. I am not a nutritionist. But it's simple. You are what you eat, as they say. Okay, so if you're going to pump your body full of sugars and all this kind of stuff, then essentially that's what you're going to be. If you're going to eat fats and sugars and all this kind of stuff all the time and greasy fried foods, this is what's going to happen. So my advice to you is there's no one set diet, as it were, that works for everybody. Okay, and I don't believe in diets anyway. So my advice to you is this: build a new relationship with food. I'll say that again. Rather than dieting, build a new relationship with food. What that means is if it doesn't make you happy after you've put it in your mouth, as in it doesn't give you long-term happiness, eating that burger in the moment might make you happy, but if it doesn't make you feel good later, you might want to think about building a new relationship with food around that. Don't put anything in your mouth if it doesn't make you happy long-term. Now, full disclosure, it's okay to treat yourself every now and then. Maybe once a week, have a little treat. Get that burger, get that takeaway, get whatever it is that you want, get it out your system. But for the rest of the week, focus on making better choices. Because at the end of the day, one bad meal isn't going to make you overweight, isn't going to make you sick. But similarly, one good meal a week isn't going to make you fit. Okay, you need consistency. So make better choices for the rest of the week. So what choices could you make that will be better? Varied, balanced diets, balanced nutrition. So eating proper carbohydrates. It's not these simple sugars, these simple carbohydrates. I'm talking about, carbohydrates that you'd get from, things like potatoes and rice and pasta, and some breads and things like that. Obviously, yes, some fruit as well, but don't go too heavy on the fruit because it's still fructose, it's still sugar at the end of the day. You don't really want to have high sugar intake. Your body, by the way, is actually designed to take sugar. It's designed to process sugar, but not in excess. So you can have some natural sugars, which is better than processed sugar. So getting your carbohydrates from healthy sources like that, like oats and grains and things like that, which are really, really good, and obviously packed full of protein as well. And in terms of protein, obviously lean sources of meat, such as chicken breasts and lean cuts of meat and things like that, over fatty meats are very, very important. And obviously, if you're vegetarian or you're vegan, you can look for your protein from either supplements or from other plant-based foods, such as avocado and nuts and things and seeds and things like that, and quinoa and all these kind of things that have protein in them. But again, get some more advice on that. I am not a dietitian, but get a good balance of healthy proteins, because sometimes, especially if you're vegetarian or vegan, the more sort of amateur vegans and vegetarians, and when I say amateur, the newer vegans and vegetarians who haven't really nailed it yet are not entirely sure on where to get their best sources of protein, so they end up eating a lot of carbohydrates and things, and that's not really good for their system. So it's important that you understand that you should have a good balance of carbohydrates and protein, and then fats. Obviously you need fat in your diet. This doesn't mean that you go and just have a greasy fry up or a kebab. What this means is you do need to have some good fats. Okay, so as a rule of thumb, saturated fat is not good for you. Okay, so when you look at a packet or something in the supermarket and it's high in saturated fat, you probably want to stay away from that. What you want to look for are more unsaturated fats. So things such as olive oil, nuts, and things like that have good quantities of unsaturated fat, which is essentially good for you. It's good for your digestion. It's good for your for breaking down other fats in your body, believe it or not. It's good for you. Okay, so and it's also good for energy. So it's important that you get a good dose of the right fats, but obviously again within moderation. You don't want to have too much. Okay, now these food groups, if I'm very honest, you've got to find what works for you. For some people, little and often works well. So what I mean by that is they will have 6 smaller meals a day, which keeps their energy levels high and then keeps their engine going, so to speak. Some people would have like 3 big meals and little snacks in between those. Some people would do what's called intermittent fasting, which is they will fast. They'll only eat for 8-hour window. So for example, they will start eating at 1 p.m. and they will make sure that their last meal is by 9 p.m. in the evening. So they're only eating in an 8-hour gap. For the rest of the 16 hours, they're essentially fasting. And that's good for some people because it works with concentration, it works with burning fat, it works with staying lean, it works with staying on top of things. So that's another option. But again, I'm not a dietitian, not a guru, but I'm going to recommend that you go away and do some research around eating the right foods to keep your energy levels high and obviously keep you functioning and keeping you healthy and fit. And obviously it goes without saying with nutrition, the other thing you need to think about is not just food, but fluid intake. Okay, you've got to be drinking more water. Okay, aim for 2 to 3 liters a day. It sounds like a lot, but it's not once your body gets used to it. Okay, so sipping water rather than gulping it down is better. So sip it throughout the day. I recommend you go on to Amazon or eBay and just Google one of these 2-liter half-gallon sort of jugs or beakers or whatever you want to call them, and get one of those and just fill it up every day and make sure you do not go to bed until you drank that. Okay, super important that you keep hydrated. It's good for your body, it's good for your mind, it's good for your soul, it's just good for your energy levels. Okay, I've got to the stage now where if I don't drink enough water, I notice it immediately. My energy levels dip, I start to feel dehydrated and I just feel crap. So it's a good signal for me to go and drink more. All right, so avoid fizzy drinks, even if they're diet drinks. They're not great for you, but again, don't deprive yourself. If you fancy one, have one, just don't make it a habit. But avoid the fizzy drinks. Avoid juices. A lot of these juices are full of sugars as well. So water is literally the best drink for you. It's literally the best drink for you. Obviously, I'm not going to say be boring and drink water alone. Clearly you can indulge a little bit at times, and it's the same with alcohol. If you really want to drink, again, in moderation. Don't do it all the time. Okay, but it's important that you get some right fluids into your body. Okay, so good. Next, third stage that we need to look at is something that when you don't do it, you're going to feel it. You're going to notice it. Your energy is going to deplete. You're not really going to feel on your A game, and you're not really going to be that happy. But when you do it, you're going to have endorphins released into your body. You're going to feel great about yourself. You're going to lose weight if that's your goal. You're going to feel fitter, stronger, healthier. So what am I talking about? I'm talking about exercise. Now, this is, again, I'm not a PT, but essentially you need to start moving. You're going to move more. Okay, if you look after your mind, you put the right food into your body, and you move more, it's virtually impossible for you not to get fitter. And by saying fitter, it might be, increasing your stamina, increasing your strength, might be losing body fat, whatever it is. It's virtually impossible for that to not happen if you're following that procedure. Now, exercise can be whatever you want it to be, depending on your physical capability, all right? It's recommended that you do about 230 minutes a week, something like that. And if you break that down, it's about half an hour or so per day, or whatever it is. And it's quite doable. It's quite doable for most people, okay? Your goal is to move more, okay? Now, it doesn't mean you have to hit the gym every single day. It could literally mean that you wake up a little bit earlier and you go for a jog, you go for a walk around the block, or you work out at home, okay? If you're really strapped, maybe you get out of bed and you jump up and down on a rebounder. One of those little mini trampolines? You just jump up and down, move around a little bit, get your body loose, get your body moving, get your heart rate going. But move. Get some exercise in, go for a walk, hit the gym if you can. Ideally you want to hit the gym 3 or 4 times a week, okay? Just fast, in and out, 30, 45 minutes, blast in and out, okay? You don't need to waste time with it, but you do need to think about exercising, okay? And like I said, it doesn't have to be at the gym. Just get moving, do something, whether it's you wake up a bit earlier and maybe buy yourself a stationary bike, sit in front of the TV and watch some educational, personal development, motivational videos. Kill 2 birds with 1 stone. You're up nice and early, you're feeding your mind, you're feeding your body. Fantastic thing to do. So definitely move more. Join a gym if you have to. If you need some accountability, get yourself a personal trainer, but definitely move more, okay? And the last area of the Entrepreneur's Wellness Quadrant, which again, it's something that's really overlooked in business and in health and well-being. But if you don't do it, you're going to be miserable. You're going to be dull. You're not going to be a very happy person. But when you get it right, you are going to enjoy life. You're going to find yourself in a situation where nothing gets you down. So what am I talking about? I'm talking about fun, having more fun. This is literally something that most people don't do. Like, when was the last time you just uncontrollably had fun? Like, you just went out your way to have fun, deliberately have fun. Sadly, not many entrepreneurs, not many people do it. And fun can come in all sorts of shapes and forms. It could be you hanging out with your mates. It could be you watching your favorite comedy or your favorite comedian. It could be playing some games. It's just, what is your downtime? What is the stuff that you do for your downtime to have more fun, to enjoy life? You've got to find what drives you, what is fun for you. You've got to define that, okay? And when you know what it is, do more of it, okay? It's not rocket science. I don't know the ins and outs of what makes you tick and what you define as fun. But for me, having fun means laughing with my friends, laughing with my children, laughing with my family, watching my favorite comedians, whether it's on YouTube or whether it's live in person, going out with my friends, hanging out with my friends, just having a laugh, just laughing more, like just having fun, doing fun stuff, really cool stuff, like unwinding. These are really, really important things. So it's important that you do that, okay? Like, just simple things, like even if you get together with a group of friends, like I'm recording this at a time where escape rooms are really popular. So I've just booked recently an escape room experience for me and my in-laws and and some friends, and we're going off to have fun. Like, we're just going into this escape room where you've got 60 minutes to get out of this room. It's crazy, but it's fun, right? But it's a good way to unwind. So make sure that you're having more fun, okay? So to recap, before I give you some homework, number 1, look after your mind. Make sure you feed your mind with the right stuff. Schedule some downtime for yourself. Schedule some digital detox time. Schedule some meditation time. Look after your mind. Nutrition, make sure you're putting the right foods into your body, as well as the right nutrients and the right fluids. Exercise, make sure you're moving more. That's super, super, super important. And fun, make sure you're having fun. Like I said, make sure you schedule that time, laugh, be a kid again, and have fun. Because I say, if you're not having fun in life, if you're not having fun in business, you're doing it wrong, okay? So hope that made sense. Cool. So here's your homework for you, Schedule some time aside now to implement what you've learned. Schedule some time aside now to implement what you've just learned, okay? Whether that's to write some stuff up, whether that's to create a plan or whatever it might be, okay? Then ask yourself, what is the one thing you can do differently today to look after yourself? Now notice keywords here, one thing and today. What's one thing you could do immediately today? Even if it's to go bed half an hour earlier, even if it's to go bed an hour earlier, even if it's to just wake up, 15 minutes earlier and jump on a bike, whatever it is. What is one thing you can do differently today to look after yourself? I want you to write that down and do it today, okay? You're building that muscle, right? You're going to change. We're essentially training you to behave differently. So you've got to practice it. So what's one thing that you can do differently today? Write that down and make sure that you do it, okay? And finally, create what I call a wellness action plan, a WAP. And be sure to stick to it. What that means is start looking at those 4 key areas in the entrepreneur's wellness quadrant and start mapping out what new behaviors you're going to engage with, and map them out. So whether it's on your mind, whether you're going to say, right, every morning I'm going to meditate for 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 15 minutes, and I'm going to do it in the evening as well before I go to bed, okay? For nutrition, maybe it's going to be I'm going to make better food choices. These are the only foods that I'm going to put into my body. The rest of it I'm going to deem as poison. And that's maybe what you're going to put in your wellness action plan. Exercise, maybe you're going to schedule that, you're going to exercise every morning for like 20 minutes, or you're going to do it 3 times a week for 45 minutes. Whatever it is, schedule that time in, make sure you do it. And then obviously for fun, scheduling some fun time. Make sure like at least every week minimum, I'd say even every day you should be having some fun. But to start off with, every week you plan something to have fun, whether it's to spend time with your family, your friends, or if it's just chill out time watching your favorite comedian. Have some fun and enjoy it, okay? So remember, if you don't look after yourself, there's no point having a successful business. I hope this module served you, and look, make sure you do the work. It's super, super important, and your future self will thank you for it.
You've been listening to the Mind Over Money podcast with Jessen James. Don't forget to subscribe and follow on all the channels, links in the show notes. Please also leave a review and visit www.jessenjames.com to find more resources on how to create the life you deserve.